All right, this is a continuing series that we're up to. We're up to aesthetic intimacy. What in the world is the aesthetic intimacy? How do aesthetics and intimacy, mesh together? And we're going to be talking about that this week on episode 250 of The Relaxed Male. This is The Relaxed Male, a show that comes to you each week helping men to remove the nice guy from their life so they can actually live their life on their terms. Join the host, certified coach, Bryan Goodwin, as he helps men step out of their heads and become free from the thoughts that bind them. Hey man, hello and welcome to The Relaxed Male. I'm your host, Bryan, and thank you so much for taking the time to come in, listen. If you're live, we're live today over on YouTube, trying YouTube out, seeing if I can get some things going. Got at least one view. I think that was actually me so far, but still, either way. It has been a great and wonderful week. I hope y'all have had a wonderful one also. Did want to kind of start bringing around a little bit of a quick announcement though. I am going to be putting together a 1 month challenge, and it is one that helps us guys to calm the disturbance and the dis-ease that we have within us. And it's not exactly what you think. It's not the addiction. The addiction is a symptom of what this dis-ease is. That dis-ease is just our thought and what we think of different circumstances. And so we're changing this up. We're seeing if we can see how many men we can get to kind of sit back and start to relax within about a month period, a 4-week challenge. Can we do this? And we're going to be firing this up off on the 1st of the year. This will be January 1st that we're going to be doing this. And so if you're interested in going to do this challenge with me, we're going to be doing, you can sign up. It's just a quick little Google form. I'm not doing anything fancy on this thing. It is just a Google form that has your name, your email address. That way I can send out an email and let you know, hey, this is where we're all going to meet and all that. So with that, you can go over, you can sign up if you like. It's going to be over at relaxedmale.com/storm master. We're going to be mastering the storm that is within us. And so if you want to join us there, that's where you can go. Just go to relaxedmale.com/storm master, all one word. So, all right. Now with all that out of the way, let's go ahead and let's get our happy tales all started and moving, because heck, we've got a good bit to talk about, because we're talking about aesthetic intimacy. And this is a continuation of a article that I came across on Choose Therapy, as that talks about 10 different types of intimacies. And there's a few in there that are kind of, all right, it's a bit of a stretch. You could probably take that and shoehorn it into another one. Most of them are kind of shoehorned offshoots of experiential intimacy. And this here is one that, I don't know, I'm kind of up in the air about this one still. And this isn't a deep dive. This isn't a means of, this is, all the education that you absolutely need type of message here. This is me. I'm actually learning about the different types of intimacy. I knew about physical, I knew about emotional. And then after that, there's the intellectual, spiritual, experiential, social, creative, conflict. And now we're up to aesthetic and then work. And so, I mean, we all know about the physical intimacy. We all have a pretty good idea of what emotional intimacy is about. But this is about sharing the beauty that is around us with other people. And that is a kind of a big deal for a lot of folks. That's something that really surprises the heck out of a lot of people when you start looking at beauty, things that are beautiful, things that are just eye-catching with the woman that you've married. And this makes life so much more fascinating when you're able to do that. And so just want to be able to help folks to see, comprehend, and gather the differences between what in the world is aesthetic intimacy as opposed to experiential, yada, yada, yada. So what is aesthetic intimacy? Well, start off with, and to boil it down to its bare essence, it is you sharing a beautiful experience with your spouse or with somebody else. It doesn't actually have to be your spouse. We talk about our spouses a lot here. We are married. Most of the primary folks are married men wanting to have a better relationship with their wife. So a lot of men want to have a better relationship. And part of that relationship is building the intimacy. You hear guys, believe it or not, you'll hear a lot of guys talk about, I just want to have more intimacy with my wife. And yeah, when we hear the intimacy, we actually think, the horizontal mambo, hide the baloney, sex type of intimacy. And yes, that is a very, very intimate physical intimacy that we want. Us men, when we have sex, we feel more loved. We feel accepted by our wife. And when we are rejected or denied the ability to have that physical contact with our wife, we often feel shunned. We feel shut out. We are often ashamed of the fact that, our wives don't want to have sex with us. What's wrong with us? And that is a big problem that us guys struggle with. And so that's one of the reasons why we're talking about the different types of intimacy and getting to aesthetics. What is the aesthetic intimacy about? And that is when you come across, remember back when you were maybe on your honeymoon, or maybe you were having you were out at the beach or something like that. And y'all were just having the time together and you saw something that was just awe-inspiring, just absolutely beautiful. The sun setting. Me and my wife and my son used to, when I was in San Diego, used to go to a place called that we called the dog park. It was over at Sunset Cliffs. If you're from there, you know what I'm talking about. And it was just one of those times we would take our Great Dane Dante out there and he would run around and have a good time socializing with the other dogs. And we would get to socialize with all the dog owners. And eventually somewhere along the way, the sun hit just a particular area. And everybody just kind of stopped and took in the awe and the wonder of what we were seeing. And I think a lot of that actually helped us bond together as a group of dog owners who loved each other's dogs. It was fun. Everybody was all excited when Dante would come around, and we would all cheer when there was a basset hound that would come bounded through there. And I want to call him Flash, but I know it wasn't Flash. It was like Duke or something like that. But it was, there was all these different types of dogs, and they were good, get along type of dogs. And we had a great time. The dogs ran wild and the people stood around and we had a great time. That intimacy of the watching the sunset, the intimacy of us going down to the dog beach and having a good time there, or just going to any beach with my family, seeing the beauty there, going to, Colorado and seeing the majestic mountains there are all just instances of where we can see aesthetic intimacy. That's not the only place, though. You can actually bring up aesthetic intimacy by just going to a museum, walking down the street and seeing a beautiful interaction between an elderly couple. Anything that you come across as beauty, and you and your wife are actually able to share that together, that makes your life just a little bit stronger. That connection that you're so desperately wanting gets just that. Just take your fingers, just that much far apart, that much closer. And it may not seem like, well, why would I want to put that much work into something that just barely makes a blip on the radar? Because, like with all things compounding, it grows. Every little bitty aesthetic intimacy that happens, it becomes bigger. And what happens is sadly, a lot of times we allow life to take over. We stop being intentional with what we're wanting to do with our lives. And so we start just hanging out at house. All of a sudden, the beautiful things that are around us in our house just kind of become mundane, and they blend into the background, and we stop having the awe and the wonder of seeing beauty around us. And so, yeah, that intimacy, that aesthetic intimacy starts to wither and dry. Now, a lot of women take a lot of pride into their house. They work hard to make sure their house is a sanctuary for love and harmony. And that they do that, and they will often take the time to change out the decorations. I'm going to call it decorations, the interior decorations for the house, depending on what the season is, depending on what the time of the year. So, right now everybody's taking Halloween stuff down. It's probably starting to put up a lot of fall oriented, Thanksgiving based, a lot of yellows, oranges, browns, that type of stuff. The color scheme starts to shift and change until Thanksgiving. And then all of a sudden she takes everything down again, does that hard work of putting stuff up for about a month, brings it all back down. And then boom, all of a sudden here's Christmas smacking you right in the face. And we get, because our wives put that, we may not voice it so much, but we take so much in, and the fact that our wife works so hard to beautify the house and make the house such a pleasant place that helps to bring our intimacy together, especially when you start to recognize the beauty of the work that she's done. See, not just sight-based beauty. There might be, auditory-based beauty that you're hearing, some beautiful songs, some tone that is just really just kind of hitting something deep down inside. Those are all the different parts of aesthetics. So is aesthetic intimacy important? Well, I would have to say, yeah, it is, because without that type of intimacy, you do start to drift apart. You become more mundane, more mediocre. Your life starts to lose a bit of the color, a bit of the brightness, a bit of the excitement. When we see something absolutely beautiful, we become more excited thanks to it. So we want and need to have some type of beauty around us, besides for our wife, because we find our wife beautiful. Unless you're like, well, what is the song? Loretta Lynn and Conway Twitty. You're the reason our kids are ugly. So and even then that was more just out of fun. But we have so much beauty around us that if we take the time to step back and see, even on like today, we had 2.5 inches of rain yesterday, and this today gotten a few more drops. And so we could easily look outside here and see this is just a dull day. It's just kind of boring. It's a day that doesn't really bring forward anything new. And we can look at that and be absolutely dreary, or you can take the time and look for beauty. Like you could look out and there's a place where the water collects over in in a school parking lot. And because of the asphalt being black, it has turned this area into just a huge mirror. And so you get to see I've always enjoyed light. So it's me, the photographer in me, but I see that, and I just is a beautiful little backdrop to see something interesting to look at and to be in awe about, to have that inspiration of awe, that awe-inspiring moment, if you will. So how do we build our aesthetic intimacy? First, you have to be intentional, man. You have to be able to stop and smell the roses. again, there's another example of having an aesthetic intimacy, finding something beautiful, this beautiful smell of a rose. Stop and smell those roses. Stop and enjoy the beauty around you. Stop and enjoy the beauty around you with your wife. And this allows y'all to have a better connection. And so is aesthetic intimacy its own intimacy? No, I think it's actually just another offset of the experiential intimacy. I think it's just one of those where it can be tied in with like the creative intimacy. And actually social, creative, and conflict. I think there's actually 5 different types of intimacy out there. I think number 6 being the social. Again, you're sharing social experiences with each other. So that's a experiential intimacy. Social, creative, conflict, even conflict intimacy is from an experience. The difference between conflict is that one, it's incredibly important for a relationship to have, but it also is needed so that we can secure. We have to go through the pain of being knotted up so that we do have a better connection. We do have a better, stronger connection with each other. So aesthetic and the next one, actually, way I look at them is these 5 intimacies are all subsets of the experiential, and we'll dive into those a little bit more come the actual 10th episode, which will be where we're talking about the physical intimacy, because it's the most straightforward. It's the one that just kind of blares right in your face. It's like, yeah, we want the physical intimacy. And that is a very large part. When we hear intimacy, then again, that's what we think of. So when it comes to the aesthetics of what is around you, when you stop and you open your eyes, you can see an old couple walking down the street, and you can look at it and see the beauty of these 2 80-year-old octogenarian folks. He still offers his arm to her. She still walks, has her arm, holds his elbow. And, they aren't out for a fast stroll. They're taking their time, and they're a little hunched over now, but you see the delicacy, the caring, the warmth that these 2 people have spent their life building. And that's one of the things that we struggle. We want our life to be that now. But how many fights, how many experiences, how many heartbreaks, how many triumphs, how much of their life they spent together. No wonder they're clinging to each other so desperately. They're all they know. They've had their kids, and their kids have graduated high school, left, and started their own families, had great celebrations, possibly even some had divorces, and they all had kids, and those kids are probably having more kids. And so you're on probably the 4th generation now. And that is a wonderful thing to witness. Life around us is a great thing. Is it hard? Is it difficult? Is it painful? It's all of those. Our life is 50-50, man. Your life is going to be, half of it is just that absolute mind-blowing pleasure. It is going to be a wonderful, glorious time. You're going to be so filled with light, joy, and fulfillment. But again, the other half is 50% pain. So you're going to have a bitch of a time. Your pain is going to suck. But you have to have that pain to be able to appreciate the pleasure. And I get it. You don't have to. Yeah, actually you do. If we had nothing but pleasure all the time, it wouldn't be sweet. Wouldn't be as wonderful as it is, unless we had the pain to go with it. If you're in a completely white room, you're not going to know distance. You're not going to know anything about what's going on around you because everything's white. We have to have those we have to have the dark with the light for us to be able to see what's going on around us. Our brain can't comprehend nothing but white. It's a tough one. So we have to work to have, to have those beautiful, wonderful experiences, to have the aesthetic pleasings. And in all reality, if you think about this, when it comes to aesthetics, to experience the ugly, and this is just kind of forming on the top of my head. This is something that's just kind of brewing with what I was saying. We have to have the ugly to go with the beauty. We have to have those ugly experiences, that ugly, rotting house that is an eyesore. We have to be able to see those to be able to appreciate the beautiful house. You have to have the ugly old crone to appreciate the young, beautiful girl. And these are just this is how life works, really. Life is 50-50. You can see the 50 in the aesthetics. And in all reality, I see the beauty in the old, rotting down houses. There is the beauty of decay. And you see the items of life that were left behind. The child's broken toy that was probably at one time severely loved, fiercely loved. And I've gone into old abandoned houses that had a ironing board still set up in a corner. Nobody seemed to touch. It was just rotting, hanging, there in the corner. What caused people to just suddenly leave like that? What caused people to not come home? These are sad, scary things, but at the same time, that's what makes our life incredible. And when you wrap in the full realm, the whole 50-50 of aesthetics, you have a full 50-50, which equals to 100% life. And so, experience is important. And smell the roses as you're coming home. And then tell your wife about it. Let her share that experience with you. Y'all go out. Go to top of a hill. Lay out a blanket and watch the sun go down. Enjoy your life. Enjoy who you are with your wife. Enjoy your wife for being the woman who said, yeah, you're going to be the least annoying person to me. I want to tie on to you. And we both have these wonderful experiences because one of the aesthetics. Two, we're sharing the different emotions. And when we stop sharing the emotions, stop sharing the intellectuals, stop sharing the spirituals and the experientials and the social experiences and the creative experiences, and we stop having conflicts with each other, when we stop sharing all these aspects, our relationship falls apart. Why do we need the pain? So we appreciate the good. To be able to appreciate the good, we have to have the pain. And well, that was just kind of word salad-y, wasn't it? But anyhow, we have to have these incredible experiences and embrace them for being what they are, and take them in and be grateful. When we can be grateful for what we have a better life. So go out. Enjoy life. Bring your wife along with you in a thunderstorm, during the rain, because who knows, there might be a beautiful rainbow that crops out, and all of a sudden you get to experience that. You get to see the aesthetics of outside. And when you do that, you'll have a better life. You will have a better relationship. Your relationship will grow. And if you're curious as to, maybe y'all don't like the same thing. Maybe you go and you see a beautiful tree that's filled up with say apple blossoms or cherry blossoms. And you're like, oh, wow, that's real beautiful. And your wife goes, God, that's a freaking mess just waiting to have to be picked up. that's a wonderful time that y'all can sit down and y'all can have discussions with each other, talk with each other, find out what it is about your experiences that differ so that you can have the conflict. Conflict isn't necessarily you yelling at her and her yelling at you. It is more of just not agreeing. But we take that disagreement as something life-threatening, and it's not. It's just an experience. And so go out, have those experiences, share the spiritual experiences, share and talk and grow intellectually with each other. Share the emotions with each other. Have those times where your emotions are bubbling over and her emotions are bubbling over, and then accept the fact that y'all have these emotions and don't try to hide them from each other. They're not scary. Her emotions are hers and they're beautiful. Your emotions are yours and they're beautiful too, man. Have these experiences and you'll find that life is so much better, so much more fuller, so much more fulfilling, that you're able to achieve those goals. You're able to have that relationship that your friends are jealous of. And I hope that you go out today, go out this week, make it a point somewhere along the way that you have experiences with your wife, because she wants to have those experiences with you. She wants to go on that adventure called life with you. So take her and go have a good time, and you'll find that your life, your relationship with your wife, your kids, and other folks become better, all because of the simple aesthetics that are around you. So guys, I want to say thanks so much for listening. If you are listening to this, we were actually going live on both on, like I said, YouTube, but we were also going live over on the podcasting 2.0 type of apps. So like if you are using something along the lines like Podcast Guru, Fountain, Podverse, these are different apps, new podcasting 2.0 compliant apps that are out there right now that allow you to hear my voice as you're going down the road. You don't have to sit there and see my ugly mug. And if you're on YouTube, yeah, you're going, oh my God, you're horrible. Yeah, I've got, I don't know, my beard's out of control these days, but it is a wonderful advancement that is being done with podcasting so that people can actually hear what's going on. And there's a lot of other really interesting features that are going on with podcasting 2.0 type of apps. We have things like Podroll, which I've got about 10 episodes or 10 different podcast shows that I personally like to listen to that you may also enjoy listening to. You can access those using something like TrueFans, which is a progressive web app. It works on on browsers, but it also works on any platform there is. So if you're interested in upgrading and getting a new type of podcasting app, you can go to relaxmail.com/new apps, all together one word, and that will take you over to a directory that is just chocked full of podcasting 2.0 apps. Also, if you are interested in getting, if you're interested in getting more, a faster return on your adventure of building a connection with your wife, we have two different options. I've got the relaxmail.com/lovebirds. And that is, we get to sit down and we can see how do we work with each other? How can I help you have the life that you are wanting? Or if you would like to be with a group of guys who are all going through trying to better themselves all at once, we have got relaxmail.com/stormmaster, and I'll be letting you know when that goes live. And this is just like I said, just a simple Google form that lets me know that, hey, we've got people who are interested. So you're not going to get spammed with a whole bunch of stuff on there. It's just me letting you know this is Storm Master stuff, and we're mastering the storm of our life and of our head. So Guys, with that, thank you very much for listening. If there's anything on here that just rung a bell, that just resonated with you, share it out. Share it onto Facebook and Instagram, Twitter, X, Mastodon, wherever it is you have a group of guys that you like to talk to. Share this out and let them know, dude, there's a podcast out there that is helping men become better men, helping men become better at their relationships. And that's where I'm wanting to help men the most, is help them have that relationship they are starving for. So guys, with that, I want to say thank you again for listening. Y'all take care. We will catch y'all later. Till then, bye.